All right, here we go. Episode 1 of Seconds Count. I've wanted to do a podcast for a long time. Not just because the world needs another one, but because I feel like I have something to say. After nearly 30 years in law enforcement and now working in school safety, while running a CrossFit gym, I've collected a few lessons. Some of them I've learned the hard way. This podcast will be my way to share them. And honestly, maybe a little therapy for me as well. Why a podcast? Well, a few years ago, I started following some podcasters. And guys that were just talking honestly about life. They had storied careers, but they didn't mind sharing the mess. You know, it wasn't just all glamour. There was some heartache, there were some tears, there was some trauma. I'd listen to it on my drive. I'd listen to it during workouts. I'd even go for walks just to listen to podcasts. And what surprised me so much was how those stories helped me through things that I was dealing with. To hear that other people like me were dealing with some of the same things. It helped me get unstuck. And that's what I want this podcast to be for other people. If there's someone out there who's going through something, and this podcast makes them pause, think, or get moving again, then that's enough. Why the name? The name for me was easy. In CrossFit, seconds count, the clock's ticking, and you're trying to get one more rep. In law enforcement, seconds count because hesitation kills you or someone else. In school safety, seconds count because decisions have to be made. But more than that, it's about life. How we spend our life, who we spend our life with, and what we spend our life doing. Are we going to waste it or use it well? That's really the heart of it. Making the seconds count. A little about me. You'll hear more as podcasts go. And maybe we'll have people on here who know me better and ask me some tough questions. But I started my law enforcement career back in 1997. I spent close to a decade on patrol, everything from tourist areas to neighborhoods struggling with poverty. I worked on the boat patrol. I worked on the beach patrol. I saw a lot of real life. And in 2007, I moved to youth services. I became a school resource officer. I spent the next 20 years focused on school safety. I found my purpose. I eventually retired in the unit as a supervisor. I've traveled the country teaching active shooters or active threat response and helping school districts with crisis planning. I am now a safe school specialist, helping schools prepare before something happens. Outside of that, I coach and run a CrossFit gym. Yes, I am part of the CrossFit cult. I am proud of it. I own it. I love it. You may not be into CrossFit. As long as you're doing something, you're not going to hear much from me, as long as you're doing something. But it's my opinion that in law enforcement or as a first responder, CrossFit is probably one of the best things you can do. My opinion. It builds toughness, grit, and readiness for the unknown and the unknowable. And I think that's exactly what the first responder jobs and life demand. When I look back at my career, I'd call it extraordinarily average. I kind of like that term. I had some good moments in my career, but I wasn't the best cop. I wasn't the fittest guy. And I've made plenty of mistakes. And I've learned some lessons along the way. And if I can share some of that helps someone else, then hey, this microphone's worth it. So what are we going to do on here? What are we going to talk about? Well, sometimes it'll just be just like this, me talking to you. Maybe a topic that I've found some interest in. Maybe just my opinion on something. Maybe answering questions from you guys. I hope to bring people on that I am interested in learning about and that have interesting lives, maybe interesting careers, and just things we can learn about. The goal is to connect with people and to talk about fitness, safety, mindset, and life in a way that's real, not filtered, not perfect. If you walk away from an episode with a spark of motivation or a new perspective, or maybe just that feeling you're not alone in the grind of this world, then that's a win. So, in closing, that's it for episode 1. Nothing fancy, just the beginning. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this, and I hope that you stick around and wait for another episode. We're just getting started. And remember, when it matters most, seconds count.